Hey guys, what's up for OddsChecker? We are heading into week 0 of college football. I am joined by the coolest college football sharps. We've got Alex Kirshner. We've got Joe's picks. Guys, are you excited for this football season?
Absolutely. How could you not be? It's the best time of the year and also the busiest. So hopefully it's a profitable one.
Joe, what about you?
Yeah, I am very excited for college football. The dog days of summer have kind of hit me with baseball being on every day. It's gotten very monotonous for me. I'm very excited to have a little change of pace with college football coming up.
Yeah, I'm very excited that I no longer have to bet on baseball, and now I can bet on some football. We are all ready to go. We are going to start with Alex, who has a slate of picks for us for Saturday's games, which is the first day. Alex, I'll let you take it away. First up, you are looking at the Hawaii Honolulu game. Vanderbilt is taking on Hawaii. They are a 6.5 favorite. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so I'm going to take Vanderbilt in this game on the road, given 6.5 to the Rainbow Warriors. Kind of violates a protocol here for me to pick Vanderbilt, which last year was one of the worst teams the SEC has ever had. And also, I generally do not make a habit of picking teams that are playing on the islands. It is a significant travel burden to get there. You don't know how it might affect the team. There's a lot of things that could go wrong when you are thousands of miles from home. And all of that is even more variable, I think, in the first game of a year. So big windup, why would I then give points to anybody, particularly a team playing Hawaii? I think it's because Hawaii is like a really significant mess coming into this year in a way that is unusual, even in this very messy sport. Todd Graham left this program in complete shambles. It was so bad that there were hearings in the state Senate about it. Timmy Chang, former quarterback at Hawaii, he's a program icon. He's back. He's the head coach now. And I think that's great. I think it's a great fit. He clearly wants to be there. I just think it's going to take a long time. They lost a ton of transfer talent out of the program last year from what was already not a particularly good team. It's the first game putting a lot of disparate parts together. And I think Vanderbilt, while they have been terrible, is 1 year ahead of that kind of teardown plan with Clark Lee, their head coach, came over before last year after being the defensive coordinator at Notre Dame. I would expect that Vanderbilt will be a touch better, just a touch better than it was in 2021. And I think that giving less than a touchdown for any Power 5 team, even Vanderbilt, given what this Hawaii team is likely to be this year, which I think is 2-10, maybe 3-9, just feels like the kind of week 0 blind bet that I'm willing to make, not because of who Vanderbilt is, but because of what I think Hawaii is going to be this season.
All right, I love it. And when those teams go down to Hawaii, they start to realize, there's the beach, there's more life than college football. So I think we're in a good spot. Laying less than a touchdown, not a big deal, especially for an SEC team. They are still an SEC team.
It counts. It counts. Yeah. You don't ask which SEC team, just it's an SEC team. It's an SEC team.
And then you also have Utah State, who's opening up their 22 campaign against UConn, the Huskies. And it's not the women's basketball team. So there is room for growth here. What do you got for us, Alex?
Yeah, I'm going to be on Utah State, on the Aggies, giving 27 in this game. So UConn is what UConn is. I think we're all pretty familiar at this point, and that's honestly why that's going to be my pick of the week. Again, it has more to do with UConn than it does to do with Utah State. But UConn, I think, offensively has been one of the worst programs in FBS for a long time. Defensively, they've made a few strides. Obviously, they have a new head coach this year in Jim Mora Jr., but I think the defense is probably in a pretty rough way. Their defensive coordinator, Lou Spanos, just went on a leave of absence about a week and a half before the first game. That tends to be a sign that things are going to be at least a little bit disorganized, a little bit difficult to put together. All of that amplified by having a first-year head coach and a significant amount of turnover. So that might work if you were playing a lousy team in week 1. Utah State is not that. These are the defending Mountain West champions. Blake Anderson had a really good first year there. A lot of talent back, particularly on offense, not only talent back, but talent coming in. Logan Bonner, a returning quarterback who's been with Anderson for years, going back to their days at Arkansas State, and also a couple of receivers from the Power 5 ranks. You've got Xavier Williams in from Alabama. Brian Cobbs is in from Maryland. I think that this is a talented offense in particular for a Mountain West team. They are playing this game in Logan in Utah, and UConn's probably just a mess. So at a shade less than the 4 touchdowns laying that, I will take it. I will bet against UConn, and I will feel chipper doing that, just as I did, I think, in week 0 last year. Made some money betting against UConn as well.
All right. Well, we love a rich backstory. I mean, they did end the season last year. What was it, like a 1-11 overall? So
Yep.
we are in a very good spot here. Plus, the Utah State team did make a statement win over San Diego in the Mountain West title game. So we're on a roll. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, San Diego State was humbled in that game. I think a lot of us thought San Diego State was going to be much better, and Utah State kind of put them into a blender and then poured out the smoothie.
Well, everything is looking in your favor. You've got one more pick for us. It is the Nebraska versus Northwestern game, and this time you've got a total. Take it away. Yeah,
I got a total. We're going across the pond. We're going to Dublin, Ireland for this one. I was actually burned on a Nebraska game in week 0 last year. I thought they would cover against Illinois. Couldn't quite bring myself to pick Nebraska to cover here at about 12.5. But I do like the under at 50.5, or even honestly, if it's at 50, I think you can see a couple of different numbers depending on where you're placing your bet. Both of these offenses, I think, are going to be in for a somewhat difficult day. Northwestern's more so. Ryan Helinski, the quarterback, been around in college football for a long time, started at South Carolina. Seems like a good kid, solid QB, but he's not a miracle worker in this offense. Other than a good slot receiver, Malik Washington, real fast, short player in the slot, there's not a ton of places to go with the ball if you're Northwestern. They do have one really good offensive tackle, as Northwestern has tended to have over the last few years. Used to be Rashawn Slater. Now it is Peter Skoronski. So there's a few things there, but not a lot. And I think that Northwestern is going to be short on skill talent to move the ball against what I expect to be a really, really good Nebraska front seven. Guy to watch there is O'Shawn Mathis, who is a TCU transfer on the edge. I think could make, depending on whether he's matched against Skoronski or the other half of the Northwestern offensive line, is going to create, either way, I think a significant bit of backlog for the Northwestern offense in this game. And more than that, I just think that Nebraska is putting together a lot of new pieces on offense as well. Casey Thompson, Mark Whipple, a new quarterback and offensive coordinator duo. You have a significant kind of disparity in how talented Northwestern's defense is to its offense. I think the Northwestern offense is probably going to be a disaster, but defensively, Northwestern has some of what it's always had. It's got some good defensive backs, a couple linebackers. I don't think either team lights up the scoreboard in this game. Neither of them is especially concerned with pace or going that quickly. So I'm pretty pleased to go under at 50.5. I do not think it's going to be a high scoring game.
And and then we're coupling the fact that they're playing in Ireland, which I've never even heard of. I'm sorry about it. Did anyone else know they were playing in Ireland?
Oh, yeah.
I found out 5 minutes ago. This is wild to me. So you couple in the travel time.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, sluggishness helps defense, generally speaking. I mean, it can, depending on which way it goes, of course, it can go the other way too. But if teams are just not entirely ready to play, you tend to get a messy game, a lot of bad passes, drop passes. And I just think that all of the ingredients are there for kind of a defensive slog in Dublin.
All right, guys. Well, you heard what Alex is picking. Now we're going to go on to what I think is about to be my favorite segment of the week. It is Picks of the Week, where we're going to give you guys the number one pick that we have in our holster. I'm actually going to start with Joey on this one, who is looking at the North Texas game versus UTEP. It is a Conference USA showdown, the Miners and the Mean Green. Joey, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I try to focus on these smaller college football matchups because I think there is sometimes a little bit more of an edge on these smaller markets that, maybe compared to the SEC or the Big Ten. But in this matchup, I am rolling with the UTEP Miners +1. I was a little shocked to see that they were home underdogs in this matchup. I would consider North Texas and UTEP being in around the same category of team. They haven't really had a lot of success in the past. They've really been teams that have gotten beat up on over the last couple of years. But last year, UTEP made a lot of strides in improving their defense. They were not a team that just got ran over last year with high-powered offenses. They held a lot of teams under 20 points. They showed a lot of improvements. And North Texas is just a team that makes a lot of mistakes. They try to play at fast pace. They try to score a lot of points. It doesn't usually happen with them. North Texas makes a lot of mistakes. This is going to be a very sloppy college football game. There's going to be a lot of mistakes, a lot of broken plays. And in those types of games, I really tend to lean the advantage with the home team just because they're at home, they're more comfortable. And I thought UTEP would be like -3 in this game compared to like a pick 'em or even an underdog getting a point. I think this is going to be a very close game, and getting UTEP with an extra point at a pick 'em, basically, I think there's a lot of value on UTEP here to grab a home win in the season opener.
All right, I love it. Well, I mean, the sloppier the better when it comes to college football, right? It's week
Right.
0. We're
Yeah.
gonna have some fun here. As for me, you guys are going to have to give me some advice on this one because you're the sharps. I am looking at the Nevada game, and they are taking on New Mexico State. Nevada is right now -8.5. They actually opened at -17.5, and I guess everyone rushed to New Mexico State. I love fading the public. I am taking Nevada -8.5. I know this isn't the same team that we had last season. They lost their head coach, a lot of their offense. There's clearly a rebuild happening here. But Ken Wilson had some help with the transfer portal. We got a full brand new pack of starters. The skill parts are okay. New Mexico State is still New Mexico State. I don't see why they can't just, get a touchdown, maybe get like a field goal. Like, I feel like it's a possible thing. I thought I'd come out guns a-blazing. What do you guys think?
Well, I have a lot of respect for you, Melissa, for just throwing caution to the wind. I am staying a mile away, 10 miles away from this game because I have no clue what to make of either of them. I expect Nevada to be worse this year. Now that Jay Norvell, the head coach, is gone to Colorado State. Carson Strong is in the NFL. You're absolutely right that New Mexico State is New Mexico State. I think they're going to play differently under Jerry Kill than they did all those years under their old coach, Doug Martin. I think they will be a lot less pacey on offense, but I just don't know what to make of them, and I think I'll need a few weeks. So I love that we have someone on the show who is willing to just do it, just live your truth, and go and put something on the Nevada-New Mexico State game. Fantastic.
The offense under Kill is completely starting over with their receiving corps. So I think, like, if there was ever before, if we're not going to know anything, this is the time to make the pick. -8.5 all the way down for -17.5. I feel like that's the move. Joe, thoughts?
Looked into that game too much yet, but just for the fact that they opened at -17 and now they're all the way down to -8.5, it kind of makes me like Nevada a little bit, just because one of my betting principles that I've kind of focused on is fading steam. I know some people like to chase the steam and follow the line. I've kind of been the opposite. My experience with betting to this point has been trying to wait to closer to game time, fade the steam, and try to get the best line and value on the other side. So my initial lean after hearing that would be to Nevada -8.5, but like Alex said, there's a lot of unknown variables. But with unknown variables sometimes comes an added edge. So it's possible that Nevada could still come out and beat them by 3 touchdowns. I'd have to look into that game a little more, but at first glance, after that line movement, I would actually lean to Nevada with you.
I love it. We're going to get along so well this college football season, guys.
Can't wait.
All right, guys, you got our week 0 picks. We will be on every Monday at noon for a new show and a new analysis of what's to come for this week's college football slate. For OddsChecker, I'm your host, Melissa, joined by my favorite new bettors, Alex and Joe. We will see you guys next week, and happy betting. Enjoy college football.